All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Patrick Willis went on with RG3 and said he'd take Cap over Purdy. We'll talk about that next, and we'll let you hear what P. Willis, the newest 49er Hall of Famer, had to say about the two quarterbacks. All right, we are brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And, of course, this video brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to your first $100. Tonight in Warriors-Lakers, I'm taking Klay Thompson higher than 15.5 points. D'Angelo Russell lower than 20.5 points. Draymond Green higher than 2.5 first-quarter points. Andrew Wiggins higher than 13.5 points, and Brandon Pajemski higher than 2.5 first-quarter points. Not really sure about the last one because I don't know how many minutes Pajemski's going to play. But there you go. Those are my picks tonight for Warriors-Lakers. All right, let's talk a little bit about Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis is the 49ers' newest Hall of Famer. What a great player he was. He's so deserving. And congratulations to Pat for going into the Hall of Fame. Can't wait for that this summer. And he went on with RG3 today. And let's play it for you right here. Here's a little Patrick Willis with RG3.
I want to get to the 2012 49ers versus the 2023 San Francisco 49ers, right? Obviously, you guys have the same – you have dominant teams, right? Two dominant teams, but have the same result in the Super Bowl, unfortunately, having it be a loss. But I noticed that there was a trend between the two teams, right? From a quarterback perspective. Both teams had a quarterback that had replaced the starter, right? Cap replaced Alex Smith in 2012. You guys' year in the Super Bowl. And then, of course, Brock Purdy replaced Jimmy G, but it was the previous year, last year that he did that. And then this year he was the starter. So when you look at some of these comparisons, I'm just going to ask you quick questions. You tell me, what you think about them. Would you have taken Cap from 2012 or would you take Brock Purdy from 2023 if you had to pick one?
Oh, man, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, wait. Man, you know what? For what it's worth, truly, for what it's worth, I'm gonna have to take Cap.
Ooh.
I know I know a lot of people can go back and picnic like towards what it looked like, towards his last couple years or whatnot with the Niners or his last year with the Niners. But he did what he needed to do when we was playing, and I know it may not have been in a way that in a traditional quarterback throwing way, in comparisons. But man, you guys were something electrifying, man. So yeah, I would most definitely. I'm gonna have to go with Cap. But man, Purdy, that's a tough one, man. I love him. I love him 1A and 1B.
All right, there you go, Patrick Willis, and I thought it was interesting, and the line that I thought was interesting where he said. He's like, truly, for what it's worth, I'm going to have to take Kaepernick. He did what he needed to do when we were playing, and I know it may not have been in a traditional quarterback throwing way in comparison, but him, you guys were something electrifying. So, yeah, I would definitely go with him, Cap, but I love them 1A and 1B. So, you know what? Good for Patrick Willis to go with Kaepernick over Brock Purdy. I disagree, of course, but I think people have forgotten how dynamic Colin Kaepernick really was. He was spectacular. He really was. Now, he didn't improve, and he kind of regressed, and I understand kind of how his career arc went. But I watched the Super Bowl Niners-Ravens a few weeks back, and this guy was just so electric. He had, you're talking about 6'6" with a gun, unbelievable speed, toughness, wheels. The guy could really, really throw it. He could really run. He was just an amazing talent, absolutely an amazing talent. And it's whatever happened to his career, whether he didn't want to play, whether the league blackballed him. I'm not going to get into that. I've got my own thoughts on that. But as far as what he was at his apex, I mean, he was really special, man. This guy, he didn't. The one difference between Kaepernick and Colin and Brock Purdy is Colin Kaepernick did not throw with anticipation, hardly ever, and Purdy throws with incredible anticipation always. So that's a major difference. So they're totally different players. But and then Colin Kaepernick, I don't know that he had the quickness and the pocket movement of Purdy, but he had crazy speed and electrifying open field running ability that when he took off, it was like, wow. I mean, this guy ran for 181 yards in a playoff game. I mean, this guy single-handedly put the Niners on his back in the second half of the Super Bowl against the Ravens and just gashed these guys. And I still believe to this day, if Kaepernick had, when they got first and goal on the 7, if he had run, they would have won. If the play where he rolled right, if he, instead of rolling right and firing it off of Crabtree's shoulder pads, if he had just tucked it and ran, he would have scored a touchdown. If you look at the angles, at worst, he would have gotten to like the 2 or 3 yard line, and it would have been third and goal from the 3, and they could have run him again. But, I mean, Colin Kaepernick had unbelievable running ability, and the Ravens were gassed at the end of that game. So, I mean, they're so different because, like, what one guy has, the other guy doesn't have. But I respect Willis for going with Kaepernick. He played with Kaepernick. They went to a Super Bowl with Kaepernick. He's backing his guy. And he understands that Purdy's fantastic, and that's why he's like, hey, they're 1-1A. But you know what? Back your guy. Back the guy that you played with. I got no problem with that. And I just think that we forget how good Kaepernick was. Now, there was a play in the Super Bowl where he almost threw a pick six deep in his own territory. And why did he almost throw the pick six? Because he waited for the receiver to get open, and then he just tried to laser it in there, despite the fact that Jimmy Smith, I believe, the corner for the Ravens, was right there. And he just threw it so damn hard that Jimmy Smith couldn't corral it. Otherwise, it's an easy pick six, walk into the end zone. So, that was it for Kaepernick. I mean, he had an unbelievable gun. He was physical. He was tough. When he took off to run, he had great speed, elusiveness. There was like a fearlessness to his game. And he just had an unbelievable laser arm, too. The guy could just laser it in there. But he didn't really throw with anticipation. He couldn't. I mean, it's amazing that Harbaugh called fades because he just didn't layer the ball over defenders at all. I mean, he could have a running back 10 yards away with the entire sideline open, and if there was a linebacker in front of him, there was no way for Kaepernick to get that guy the ball. He just could not layer it over the linebacker and drop it into the lap of the receiver. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't make that throw. Could not throw with any defenders in between him and the receiver. Just didn't have the ability to layer the ball over the defenders. Where Purdy makes that play look like he's a handoff. It's so easy. Purdy throws with anticipation. Purdy will throw it before the receiver's out of his break. Purdy will throw it with accuracy to a spot, knowing his receiver's going to be there, and he completes those passes time and time again. So as far as who's better, Cap was the bigger athlete with the stronger arm with better foot speed. Purdy is the smarter quarterback who could make more throws and is more trustworthy, more accurate, and could throw with anticipation. Cap couldn't throw with any anticipation. Purdy is exceptional at throwing with anticipation. But it's not such a slam dunk that it's like, oh, this is a ridiculous debate, because Colin Kaepernick had an ability to run and an ability to throw lasers that were just, I mean, you didn't need big openings. Small openings, he could just absolutely thread the needle with just an absolute laser and drop it in there. So I understand why Willis went with Kaepernick over Purdy. I'd go with Purdy over Kaepernick. They had different skill sets, both very special 49er quarterbacks for sure. Unfortunately, we never got to see Kaepernick really develop, and hopefully we get a chance to see Purdy develop and ultimately win that elusive Super Bowl that they're both 0-1 in Super Bowls right now. In a lot of ways, they're sitting in the exact same spot. And Cap's career is done. Purdy's career is just getting started. We'll see what he can do with it. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy as well. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.